You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, huge shout out to our sponsors. The Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma. And it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. So a huge shout out to Governor Anatobi for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my two pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible, and so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too, but I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC, and hopefully our pups will run into each other.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to an episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike and here, host, back with another episode. We are up in Stillwater today. Go Pokes. Feels like going to a second home. Gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest today, Blaire Atkinson, who is in charge of the foundation here, raising a lot of money.
Yeah.
And wearing a lot of orange.
Every day, all day.
Yeah, I'm super excited to dive into your story. Shelly connected us, former boss of mine, Shelly Zumwalt, connected us because you guys are in YPO together. And so excited to hear a little bit about, your story, how you get connected with Shelly there. But before we do, thank you so much for having me in your office. Got some really cool items here.
Yeah.
Got the kids front and center.
That's right.
Have to, right?
That's exactly right.
And then some really cool prized possessions here, which I'm excited to dive into. Tell me a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about your Oklahoma story, where you grew up, and kind of what early family life was like.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to visit a little bit today. So I think I mentioned before, I hail from Oklahoma, so northwest part of the state, Vicey, Oklahoma, which is a really small community near Woodward, for those of you who aren't familiar with the area. Really loved growing up there. I grew up a farmer rancher family. My dad is a veterinarian, and my mom and he owned a veterinary practice there in Vicey. So small business owners, and I would say shoveling the stalls at Vicey Animal Clinic led me to college. I was confident I didn't want to do anything in agriculture or with livestock. So I actually did not start at Oklahoma State. Started my academic journey at the University of Central Oklahoma. Okay. In Edmond, for me in Northwest Oklahoma.
Broncos.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Yeah.
That was a big city.
Yeah.
You're moving really to the big city. So it felt adventurous at that time. But I didn't fall in love with the community there. Growing up in a rural part of the state, you are blessed with people in the community who really care about you and invest in you. And it's both a blessing and a curse when you're a young teenager, but I missed it and ended up transferring to Oklahoma State. Met my husband here. We live here now. We graduated, moved back to Oklahoma City area for a little bit, live back in this area now on land with cattle, all the things I said I would never do.
Is he in the ag world?
No,
Okay,
either.
wow.
So it has been fun. I have 3 kids now, as you mentioned, a senior in high school, sophomore in high school, and a freshman in high school. So we are busy and loving life.
Are they into all the sports?
They're all into the sports.
Everywhere.
Yeah, all into the sports.
Yeah.
So football, basketball, baseball, track, FFA, all the things. So, yeah.
Does part of you want to have them muck stalls because you did it as a kid?
That's why we have animals now.
Yes.
That's the only reason. I have no enjoyment out of it, but we love it that our kids have to grow up with that kind of ag background.
They'll be thankful for it when they're 30 years old in their career and they realize where their hard work ethic comes from.
That's what we think. That is our theory. So, but I've been here at the OSU Foundation now for, I'd say with OSU, I've been 15 years,
Okay.
right around 15 years. Most of that has been here at the OSU Foundation. I did have about 2 years in between at the Alumni Association,
Okay.
being the Alumni Association president.
Okay.
So,
Very familiar with
yeah.
the alumni of Oklahoma State.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So growing up, rural town, small community, but a well-knit community, mom and dad are in the veterinarian world. So there is a lot of, when you're in that community, people growing up in small towns that aren't agricultural towns, they know the vet, the milkman, the post, like all the things.
Yeah.
But being in a small agricultural town, like your parents, like were known by everybody and
Yeah.
seen by everybody. And if emergency strikes, they're probably the first
That's
ones
right.
there, right?
They are. They are the first ones there.
And you didn't want to go be a vet.
I did not. I definitely did not. Nor at that time did I think I wanted to be a small business owner.
Okay.
Because it really is, your life is your work and your work is your life. And it really is integrated. I see that very differently now. And I see that in my role here. I see it as a small kind of family-owned business in the same way, even though it's very different. It is, like I said, I'm very fortunate to have grown up in that environment.
Does calving season still give you PTSD?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always ice cold. It's snowing somewhere,
Every
right? Like, it's
year
always
when
bad.
we had the winter storm just this
Yeah.
year,
Mhm.
we had a cow that was due, and thankfully she waited just a little
Good.
while. Yeah.
It's nice when you just have one,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
And you're not
it's-
just like running around being like, hang on a second. I know that mom has had a baby somewhere. We need to find
We
it
need to
'cause it's
find
sitting
it.
down
It
and
is an
freezing.
adventure and
Yeah.
keeps us moving. That's for sure.
That's
Yeah.
great. Okay, so what did you want to, if you weren't going to be a vet, then what was, childhood Blair's like dream to be as a kid?
Yeah.
What was the dream job?
My early dreams were to be a teacher and a coach. So I wanted to teach math and be a basketball coach. So I
Okay.
thought I
Yeah.
wanted to do. And that evolved into, I think, 6 different majors. I think I changed my major a number of times, always something math related or some version of that. Then landed in business administration. I had an accounting degree for just a hot minute, but did not want to be an accountant. Thought I was going to go to law school. I still feel like I'm finding my way
Yeah.
and what I want to do with my life.
It's plenty of time, kids.
Mid-40s. That's
Yeah.
right. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. But I knew I liked to solve problems. I liked people. I loved business. So business administration is where I landed.
So math naturally was something you leaned to.
Yeah, I
Really
loved
that
it.
naturally.
Mhm. It was really more the problem solving element of it
Okay.
than it was now looking
Yeah.
back, but I loved math. All my kids do too, which is really great.
Yeah.
So,
And then as growing up in a small town and a smaller high school, you're playing all the sports, I assume.
sure.
right?
Yeah. All we had to offer. And
Yeah.
BISI for girls, all you had was basketball and softball. So we played spring and fall softball and basketball in the middle. So we loved it. It was
What
life.
was your positions on both teams?
On softball, I was shortstop, and on basketball, I was the point guard. So,
Okay.
yeah, I couldn't shoot to save my life. I
But like
could
setting things
dribble
up and
pass
running.
and
Yeah.
good defense. Yeah, that
Okay.
was
Getting
about it.
everything
Yeah.
sorted. Wow. Any highlights from those moments? Any cool memories from like, taking you back to be like, I was that high school, those high school moments that people like to revel in sometimes, right?
No, I mean we had a lot of fun. Our girls' teams were good and competitive most of the years I was there, which was a real blessing. Basketball was my love. I wish I was better at it than I was because I loved it so much. But softball had good success too. I think
Mhm.
it was all state in softball, fast pitch and slow pitch, which was really great. Fun at the time. for
Yeah.
sure.
And being kind of Northwest Oklahoma, you're traveling on the bus a lot as well. And
Sure,
too,
yeah.
where
Far places.
yeah.
Today, if
Yeah.
a donor says, ask if I can come and see them, and they think it's so far if they're 2.5 or 3 hours away, and I think, okay,
This is-
when you're from BISI,
Yeah.
2.5 hour drive down and back in a day, 3 hours is no big deal. It's just another day. It's just part of life
Yeah.
there.
do you have a small or big family growing up?
Big family, yeah, big family.
Lots of brothers and sisters, cousins.
Yes, lots of both of those. So I only have 3 brothers. So there's 4 of us in my immediate family, but lots of cousins on both sides of the family. Been very blessed that have known all of my great grandparents. My grandparents are still living, and all of their siblings lived
Yeah.
very, very long, fruitful lives, all in that area. So
What's the secret?
I don't know. I mean, they just good genes, I guess.
Yeah, that's
We're
really cool to have your
very,
grandkids on.
very, very fortunate for
Yeah, and for
that.
the kids too,
And
to
for
have
the
those
kids, well,
stories, right? And to be
yeah.
around this generation.
I mean, my husband knew my grandparents. He got to
Yeah.
meet them all, which was really great. So we've been fortunate. All of the family that all still lives in Northwest Oklahoma, which made it really hard to date anyone from that area
Sure, yeah.
because it wouldn't be long before you would figure out that somehow you're related in the family tree. So I married a guy from Northeast Oklahoma,
Good.
which was pretty taboo for Northwestern Oklahoma people. You'll come to find that we're a tight-knit group. And if you're from there, you sort of get it. And if you're not, you don't.
Yeah, I have some friends who are from the McDaniel family are friends. And so my friend's dad was the president of Northwestern Oklahoma State University for a little bit. Alpha. And then other friends who are in Alpha as well, that own the drugstore and stuff.
Yeah.
They're all Holder is their last name.
Okay.
Andrew Holder. But yeah, that's what he says too. He's like, he knew everybody.
You do.
Even if you if your truck broke down and you were walking, one of your friends would pick you up. Not intentionally, they would just drive you by.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Why are you walking around town?
It made it hard to exercise for that very reason. If you were just taking a jog or something, everyone would stop. Do you need a ride?
Right.
But Northwest Oklahoma, I tell people all the time, there's not economic development in the same way. You don't have. Northeast Oklahoma, you have Grains Lake, or you have some tourism opportunities. The same in Southeastern Oklahoma, Western Oklahoma, you don't really have that. So people really take care of their neighbor. Yeah. It's really as a community feel for that.
And the neighboring state lines, there's nothing in there either, right?
Right.
Like North Texas is nothing.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot there.
Yeah. And I also interviewed Lance Walker a couple of months ago. So he's from up in that area too, right?
Yeah. That's how we became fast friends. If you're from Woodward area, that we somehow connected.
That's great. Okay, so you said you're one of four, and you're the only daughter. So were you totally like the baby of the family, and did you take full advantage of that, or was it just parents like, we don't have, you're just one of the kids?
No, I was the oldest.
Oh, okay.
So I definitely took advantage of that. Yeah. I still probably do a little bit. So 3 younger brothers, which was great. But I think I was independent natured and a little rebellious as a young person. Sure. So I probably still have some of that in me today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's little things that drive us, right? And you can always go back to those times. I'm like, there's something that set me on a path. And having three younger brothers that were probably testing you multiple times.
Always.
We're definitely, giving you that edge. Yeah. Okay. So we graduate high school and we decide to go to UCO. What was the decision to go to UCO over going to any other universities?
I had 2 girlfriends that were going there, and so we wanted to live together. I really was not overly committed even to going to college. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life. So because my 2 friends were going there, I thought, well, I'll give it a try. Yeah. Like I said, just didn't quite feel like I fit there. We lived far off campus. I worked as many hours as I possibly could. So I worked at a bank Arvest Bank was open 8 to 8. So I could work in the evenings and then every Saturday and just make as much money as I could. So I just didn't feel like it was a college feel. And then my dad just kept encouraging me to try OSU. He graduated from here with his veterinary medicine degree. So he just kept encouraging to please give it a try. The sell for me was I was trying to pay all my own bills and just work my way through this. He said he would buy me a trailer house and lot rent would be cheaper than apartment rent. Yeah. And he said, you could pay me back if you wanted, we could give it a go. And the math worked a lot better in that scenario. So I actually lived in a trailer house here in Stillwater, which was close to the Tumbleweed at the time. As a 19-year-old kid. Yeah, you thought, this is great. I could be right down the street. So anyway, that's where my journey started at OSU, was in the Park West trailer treasure is what I say.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. So how many semesters had you done at UCO before you moved?
Just one semester.
Oh, it was like you really knew.
I literally, this is not my fit. And so when I arrived here, actually, I was really hopeful. However, when I arrived, it was the same month that we had the plane crash. Oh, yeah. And so just the feeling on campus was really like, I misunderstood. I didn't know what was really happening. I didn't know any of the student athletes who died in that tragedy. But it really did kind of galvanize the student body at that time. So remember, attending basketball games at Gallagher-Iva with Coach Sutton, and just the feeling of family and genuine connectedness, I think, was really present in those months after that tragedies.
And you also, or I assume, had friends who came.
I did.
back
Yeah,
home.
I did have friends that were here.
Yeah. And did you decide to change your major at that point?
I
You see-
did. Yeah. I can't remember what my first major was here at OSU. I'll have to look back and try to recall. I'm sure it was something in accounting or finance. I think I started it. I can't remember if it could have been a education related as well. I'm not sure.
Who were some of the best people that you saw at Tumbleweed, or some of the concerts that you saw back in the day? Like the
Oh,
strip, people
gosh.
playing and
If
playing.
only I could remember. I think I was probably early partaker in the social life there. So I'm not sure I have any vivid memories of anything at the
Yeah.
Tumbleweed.
Really enjoyed your.
I really did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really did. And I can't recall. I mean, we listened a lot to Cross Canadian Ragweed in those days. They were really popular here. And Jason Boland and Stoney LaRue, those guys were
Yeah.
really the beat here and would be out at
Through
Tumbleweed.
music scene, also growing up through high school.
Yeah, yeah. So they were all here at the Wormy Dog, and it was very lively. You didn't know then
Sure.
what.
Especially.
Yeah, I mean, those were the guys. They'd be out in at someone's house, stringing the guitar and having a good time. So it just was. That was a
Those golden years,
really
right?
golden years. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
and you
really
look
great.
back, look at how far they are now, and yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You just don't know it.
You don't know.
And
That's
yeah.
probably who was there most of
Yeah.
them.
So you said you met your husband in Oklahoma State.
I did, yeah.
Tell me about that story.
Well, he and I met through mutual friends, somewhere on the Strip, one of those establishments. I'm not completely sure or recall which one. We debate on which one it was. So
Yeah.
I'll say Copper Penny, he'll say the Wormy Dog. Nonetheless, we had mutual friends, and so would see each other around quite a bit and started dating, and have been married now 21 years almost, which is really great. So
Yeah.
he was in the College of Engineering, construction management was his degree. And yeah, have 3 great kids now.
Yeah. Love at first sight, or did it take some time?
No, it was for sure. I mean, he had my
Yeah.
attention. I think it was mutual
Yeah.
in that way, but he's really funny, has a quick wit and humor about him. So he's quiet, but surprisingly hilarious. And so his humor attracted me immediately, and he's got gorgeous blue eyes. And so we just had a lot of fun together.
He's loving this, right? He's like, keep going, keep saying what you're
Yeah,
saying.
ask for more, ask for more.
Oh, that's great. So almost 21 years,
Yeah.
3 kids. And he said he didn't grow up in the ag world either. So was that a
Yeah.
benefit to you at the time?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
you
was
don't-
like great.
Yeah.
I mean, he did have some experience with that just
Sure.
with some people in his hometown that he grew up with, but I don't think his family didn't have,
Yeah.
his mom and dad didn't have land.
And milking cows at 4.
Yeah, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. But he enjoys it. He really loves
Yeah.
like our little side hustle hobby of having some cattle and acreage. He enjoys it, I think.
It's funny when I talk to people who it's like it's their life and their career. They're the same way that you were as a kid, right? Like it's just hard. Like
It
it's always hard.
is.
But then even it's hard as a hobby, but there's less stress. There's less
Yes.
expectation.
When it's your
There's less stress,
livelihood,
right?
it's a
Yeah.
different,
It's like
totally
this is a
different
hobby for the
dynamic.
kids to learn hard way versus like making a living out of
Yeah.
doing this,
Yeah.
having
I
to
agree
drive and do all
completely.
the things. But
Completely agree.
but you still obviously have the same respect for people who do it because I mean it is one of the hardest.
It is, and it's a never-ending task. I mean, you really are fully committed.
Yeah. Okay. So me, your husband, and at this point, and you're in your university career, you're sort of set on what you want to do. You've changed a few majors, but you're thinking, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life and figure it out. And then what are you thinking when you decide to graduate and go into the big bad world out there of adulthood?
Yeah, I really didn't have it figured out even as a
Okay.
major. I mean, I picked business administration. I had an option in HR. So I had a friend that said I should try HR because it's sort of like coaching in business. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I kind of like the thought of that, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So even, my last semester of school, I scheduled and paid to take the LSAT because I thought maybe I would go to
Yeah.
law school. I didn't end up doing that. I was kind of ready to just get life going. My husband and I got married Thanksgiving weekend before I graduated in December. So we were
In
ready.
Visay or in
We actually went to Eureka Springs.
Yeah.
His grandmother was ill, and so we were planning to get married in the spring and decided let's just do it over Thanksgiving weekend and went to Eureka Springs, which was great. So I was ready for life and had an option in HR. I had been interning at Stillwater National Bank here in town, which was a wonderful local bank. They were a bank before the state was a state, and just really, really good people there.
And you had experience working at Harvest.
Yeah, at Arvest. So I started in HR there, and they hired me full time after I graduated, which was great. Huge blessing. A lot of good people. They let me do some wild things that I look back and I think they're a publicly traded bank, and I'm like a 20-something. What? I mean, I just have so much appreciation for the people there because they gave me so much more opportunity than what I deserved ever, and were wonderful mentors. Rick Green, Rex Horning, the HR team that was there was really wonderful. So Kimberly Sinclair was their COO, was a great female leader, and just really good people.
What are you learning at that young age, or especially, I mean, some of the time you don't realize it until you look back, like what you mentioned of the things that they, let you kind of have oversight over and looking into. But what are those key things that you took away from that you try to do for others now, mentoring or your staff?
Yeah, they really gave me a lot of latitude that if I saw anything that needed to be better or different, or I had an idea, they gave me a lot of empowerment to say, figure it out, fix it. And they also really encouraged that there should not be anything too big or too small. So I think I learned there not to get too big for my britches and be willing to do whatever the task was, whether it was in my job description or not. So just really willing to give you some rope to try new things and explore and make a difference. So when you find young people, and we have so many that are here at the foundation that way too, they're just hungry and they want to make a difference and they're eager to learn and eager to grow. And I think what I learned there and throughout my career is people were great shepherds and committed to that. Just let that, you nurtured it, I guess would be how I would say it. And I think we try to do that here. We try to be an innovative kind of organization where everyone's in it together, not too much bureaucracy, and really try to empower people to make a difference.
So you're starting your career, you're married, you're living in Stillwater. Tell me a little bit about the role your husband went into, and then obviously you changed jobs and progressed in your career. But what is that time like of newly married, living in Stillwater, just graduated, working, setting up your life?
Yeah. Well, he was actually, he's older than me, but he was still in school after I graduated.
So you're the breadwinner, putting all the food on the table.
Sure.
Slaving away while he's enjoying himself in college.
Sure, you can say that. So he had another year and a half, probably. I can't recall now. I think he graduated in maybe a year and a half, 2 years. So it was different. If you are a college student in Stillwater, it's very different than a young adult in Stillwater. I worked a lot. He went to school a lot, which was I guess just life as you would know it. When he graduated, he got a job in Edmond and commuted for a little while. Okay. And so then we still lived here. I worked at the bank and then commuted there, and then eventually decided we wanted to try to start a family. At some point we wanted to be in the same town, so I moved into telecommunications, Dobson Communications. Everett Dobson's a good Northwest Oklahoma guy, and Dobson Communications is a really big brand in that area. So
great business.
I've always been really proud of that organization. I started there, took the job there, and found out I was pregnant as soon as I took the job. So I remember calling them saying, I'm in HR. I get it. You're not supposed to do anything here, but if you want to change directions on this, I get it, because I'm going to have to go on maternity leave at some point. And while I was on maternity leave, we got bought out by AT&T. And then that led me eventually to O'Reilly Auto Parts automotive industry, which was really cool industry in Reno, McArthur in Oklahoma City. So that's great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they have a distribution center there. So got to work with some really great people there.
It's funny that you go full circle to go back to Edmond. Right. I didn't enjoy it here, but now I'm back.
But now I'm back. Go to Edmond and go. It was wild.
Back to the city, right? And obviously the city transformed so much in that time.
Yeah. And when part of what led us back from the Edmond area, Matt had changed jobs once in between there and was then now driving to Stillwater from Edmond. And I was driving to Reno, McArthur And we had found out we were pregnant with our third baby. No planned pregnancy. We did not do this well. They're all really close together in age.
Which is great now.
Oh, now it
At
is
the
so
time, I feel
great.
like I've been
Yeah.
pregnant for, what's that, 20-something months?
Forever.
Yeah.
They're in total 38
27
months
months
apart.
straight.
And we were just surviving, to be honest. We wanted our family all together and really wanted our kids to be in a small town if we could. We both grew up in small towns, relocated back here for a small community near OSU because we both lived it here.
And then during this time, are you still engaged? Are you still engaged in Oklahoma State? Are you still coming to games and then just kind of about you'd left, but you hadn't.
No, we had really left.
You had?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we were both working a lot of hours, and when you're having babies and raising kids, you just don't.
Fine.
Yeah. Well, watch a game on TV if we could. Most of that was just fully invested in the kids and the family. So when I came back here, I mean, I really had to do a little research on, okay, the OSU Foundation, what do they do? I knew someone who worked here who had recommended I look at the job here, but we had kind of gotten disconnected. So,
Yeah. Okay. And so you research and you're like, oh, these guys do a lot.
They do,
right?
yeah. And I thought I'd heard really good things about the culture. The HR team is who I came and worked with first and heard great things about the HR team.
Yeah.
So just wanted to get back in the same town with my husband and raise our kids near Stillwater.
And looking back over your career at this point, you've really got a lot of different skills in your tool belt to come here, right? You talk about HR, you talk about being at a bank and finance, accounting. You like the coaching mentality. Obviously, you're a student athlete at a high school level as well, so you have that like grit in you. And then also you grew up in an ag world, so like all of these things mold you into become this asset to anybody that wants to hire you. You would think, right?
Sure.
It worked out well. Like that's why you're here.
That's
It's cool
worked
to
out
look back on that moment of kind of coming back to the foundation. And who was the first person you met with at the foundation? Who hired you?
Jamie Payne is who hired me, and she was the head of HR here. Right after I started, probably 6 months later, she went and she left and went to OSU to be their head chief HR officer there. So she was great, dynamic and energetic and very passionate about what she did. So I really loved working with her. Culture was great here. I mean, it just was like when you grow up in HR, for those years I was in HR, you do a lot of firefighting and a lot of, like, you're the legal counsel and you, especially in the industries, telecommunication and distribution, warehousing, it is a tough gig. You have a lot of OSHA. I mean, anytime I say I'm going to write a book about HR stuff, it comes from that season of my career. So when I started here, I thought, oh, wow, this is different. It was very proactive more than reactive, and it was really fun.
Yeah, because there's a stigma around HR.
That's
of
right.
corporations and the HR department. You're just like, great, HR's going to say this,
exactly.
right? What are they trying to stop us to do, or pulling us back, or we can't do this, can't do that? Which I'm sure you've experienced a lot, right?
For
You're like
sure.
you are the corporation police, really.
That is what it
don't
felt
do
like.
this, don't do that. Yes, you can do this, but only this way. And then you come here and you're like,
Oh,
like,
you can be a business partner, and you really can think about like how do we grow the business and really use and build teams of people that are well suited for their roles and in the right spot. And so it became much more energizing than what I had been in before.
How long were you here at the foundation before you jumped over to go work for the Alumni Association?
Maybe 7 years,
Okay.
6 or 7 years, I'm going to guess.
Quite a while, plugged in.
Yeah. So I was in HR and then moved to development services here for a little while. I sort of unexpectedly had a great boss in Kirk Jewell who, again, just let me try new things. And we had a vacancy in that role and asked if I would be willing to step in. And I did and really loved it.
Is that who the atrium's named after? Das.
Huh? Yeah.
So
It was my predecessor. Mhm.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay.
It's really great.
That's
So-
really cool. Okay, so you go work for the Alumni Association. Similar role? I mean, do you feel like it's the same? You just kind of stepped across the street, or was it more of just a...
It was different. Yeah, it was different and good different. So it's its own 501c3. So it was the first time that I had reported to a board and managed a whole enterprise, which was very different.
Sure.
If you've never experienced the buck really stops with you, and that felt different, having 16 bosses instead of one boss.
These figureheads at this giant table.
Yeah, it was very different to
Yeah.
figure out, okay, what is happening? I joined there, and when I did, they had experienced quite a lot of change whenever I had joined there. So the staff, I think, needed some support and, team building. I think the board did as well. I think just, alignment and, you know, visioning would be, how we kind of tackled it together. But that was exciting to me. It was exciting to me that there was so much opportunity, so many good people, so many good ideas. And I got a lot of excitement out of thinking about how can we put all that together to really move us forward. So I loved the people there, loved my time there, loved the board that was there. I think it was probably a year and a half, and the foundation president role came back open here, and so made a really tough choice to come back over here. It was because the people there are so fantastic. The people here are so fantastic. So I have a real passion point for the Alumni Association, just because I felt like I did that job interim for a little while. Took the job here and asked for a 6-month transition, which was the worst idea I've ever had. I don't feel like
I'm going to do 2 jobs for 6 months.
I don't feel like I served anyone well. And COVID hit at that time. We had to reduce some staff at the Alumni Association. So I was also like running payroll and trying to do both. It was not my best season at all. That's right. In the year. So bless my team here when I started, and we would do, virtual COVID huddles because everyone was virtual. I think I was so tearful in those days. Like, I haven't slept. I'm not sure. I love you guys. We're all in it together.
And the kids are what, 8, 9, 10 at that point? Kind of just like in those, like, we're in the war zone years.
And it's before you have the fiber internet, so you're yelling out the door, get off the internet. I'm on a call.
And you were in your house that you're in now out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Out in the country. So we really didn't have great internet connectivity, but we made it work. I don't feel
it's
like.
It's fun to laugh about it now.
Yeah. Those are a little trauma.
I just been away for good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So the opportunity, you come over here, you have a 6-month transition during COVID.
Yeah.
And then you've been in that role since then.
I have, yes. So just about 6 years, a little over 6 years now.
If people ask you, hey, you're in charge of the foundation of what is like the elevator? Hey, 30 seconds. This is exactly what I do and what we do.
Yeah. So we are the private philanthropic arm of the university. So we raise, invest, and distribute all private philanthropic support for the whole OSU system. So that includes Stillwater, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Okmulgee, the medical school, as well. So any of that private money routes through us. And we try to be good stewards and shepherds of it. So we manage the endowment, which is a little over $1 billion of private funds, which is great.
Amazing.
And so many generous donors. I think we had 100,000 gifts last year, which was incredible. Every one of those has its own account. So I would say, big part of our role is making sure I think there's 7,000 accounts that we manage for a donor, that whatever the donor wants to have happen with their money, we really take a lot of pride in making sure that is exactly how the money is spent when it gets to the universities. You get to work with a lot of great people, and generosity is a wonderful thing, and it's pretty powerful. So we get to see people on their best day when they're trying to make a difference and they want to give away money to really help the next generation. So it's fun.
Do you have a foundation podcast?
No.
Okay, you need to.
We need a foundation podcast. Okay.
I tell you, it's the biggest cheat code to get in front of people is to have them talk about themselves, because then you make them feel great and then they give you money.
Yeah, that's great.
Because I was telling Sean McCabe the same thing because he's gone into a new role now.
He was here before,
Yeah. So he's gone to a new role at the Outdoors for the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Foundation. They're gala. I say gala. It's gala. I'm sure over here. My accent says gala.
Anyway. I've been educated with gala.
It's not intentional. Yeah. So Sean I told him he's doing the foundation thing. Obviously, he was here for a long time. Just go meet people. You're meeting these people anyway. Just record it.
It's a great idea. Okay. So Jennifer, podcast. We need a podcast.
Happy to consult.
Okay. That's awesome.
So $1 billion technically under management, 7,000 accounts. All these great relationships, all these great mentors that you get to learn from selfishly too, right?
Absolutely.
That's the other thing about a podcast we're going to meet people is that, you as a leader and as a, being in charge of a team, and then the team gets to meet these people. There's so much knowledge in the donors,
Absolutely.
Right? The life that they've lived, the careers they've had, the relationships they've built, the good and the bad things they've gone through. That's worth don't worry about dollar figure. Learning that information
Absolutely.
is so rich, getting those. And obviously there's a common love for Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
So you already have a grounds to like, you don't have to kind of break the ice here.
That's right. We all have a
already in.
shared
Yeah.
enthusiasm,
Which is
passion.
amazing for you guys to have that. Do you have a like a dollar amount every year? Like, okay, this year, and I'm assuming it goes up because expenses go up in general.
Sure.
There's always more to raise for, but
Yeah.
diving into that side of it, as far as kind of, and you just, I know there's some of this information you can't tell me, but is there a certain amount that you have to raise every year? And then what is your goal amount as far as your building? And where do you, as someone who's in charge here and the coach in you, how do you dive towards that number? Because that number is a giant number,
It
right?
is,
But
yeah.
it's like, if you look at it as a giant number, instead of breaking it down, take
A
me
little
there.
daunting
Yeah,
if
it is
you-
daunting,
if you
especially
do it,
when the
yeah.
economy is doing great or not. You've been
Absolutely.
through all these cycles since you've been
Yeah.
here, and obviously worked here
It is.
previously. Take me to that side of the role, because I'm fascinated with that side because of how kind of up and down it goes and how
Yeah.
intricate the details are, right? Especially when you have
Yes.
7,000 accounts.
Accounts, yeah.
Some of those might, half of those might be affected just because oil and gas is down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But let's dive into that.
So it's been fun. I usually use basketball analogies
Yeah.
because I love basketball. However, I tried because both my sons are football players. I tried to use some football analogies this year, failed miserably. So I'll avoid that. But we did put together in the last couple of years what I call as a scorecard. I go back to basketball and think, how you're going to win based on the team you have and the dynamic you have. So you have to know what you're measuring. And in basketball, you look at the total. At the end of the basketball game, how you won is just the score on the scoreboard, but there's so much more complexity to that. And points in transition and rebounds and what you're going to do defensively and building that game plan or scheme based upon the talent of your team. And if you've got big, slow team or you've got a short, fast team or some combination of that. And so still feel like that's what we tried to do here in building kind of our scorecard. At the end of that, scorecard, the scoreboard for us by 2030, we're trying to get to $2 billion in new commitments for OSU. So we're in a comprehensive campaign, and that's sort of our ultimate win. Impact in that way, though, over 5 years, we try to measure things like how much of that money gets to OSU. So we want to increase those commitments to OSU, and we measure a ton of other things under that. How much money goes to scholarships and, where the pockets go toward impact. But then we also have things in there like how many, personal visits does someone go on? How many times do they ask someone to make a commitment? How many of those do they close? Those kinds of things that are more the inside baseball, if you will,
back to your sales
education.
metrics, right?
Yeah.
Touch points and
how do you all build the machine? Yeah. The ultimate win at the end of the day really comes from having good discipline and the process. You hear a lot about that in athletics too. You got to fall in love with the process.
Absolutely.
And the outcome will come. And I think that's what we're trying to build here in team is you got to fall in love with the process. And there are lots of those metrics in there to make sure that we're a really healthy team, from investment performance to cash receipts to employee engagement metrics and turnover. All of that's kind of part of the machine that we're working on building there. So
you guys launched a new campaign.
The Code Calls
last year, right?
Yes, it's the fall of last year. It's the Code Calls, $2 billion comprehensive campaign that we think is going to have a real transformational impact on OSU. The priority of it is student scholarships, which we're really, really proud of. And we've done prior campaigns at OSU. A lot of that was focused on the infrastructure of the campus. So you can see when you drive into campus that it represents who we are as Cowboys. This one really is focused on people and programs. So we're really working to make sure that all of our students are connected to a donor through a 4-year scholarship award. And right now we've got a long way to go. So our big push is student scholarships out of the gate.
Yeah. Looking at it from just black and white, like you're raising money, right? That's the total goal, is to raise money. But everything that falls under that, like I said, the connections, the assets that you guys have, the dollar amount you guys have under management, it's all great. But when you tie in the community, the family atmosphere here, that connection that people have when they have been here, they've been a student here, whether it's yourself or it's someone who's 90 years old, right? That's just gone on and done very well with their success, but they just they love basketball. They've always loved basketball.
Yeah.
They remember their first game.
Yeah.
Like, and I had Anne Greenwood sat with me on the podcast last
So
September,
great.
October time. And I asked her what it was like with her first day on campus. And you can see her face light up when she tells me, but it's also the exact same experience that any freshman would have the first day. She's like, I was terrified. And she's like, I don't know where these classes are. And she said that there were some of the, I guess, older guys on campus where you walk past them, they were holding up scores. He's like, being heckled. She's like, but you're talking to someone, like Anne and Mike who have had this experience that they can relate with an 18-year-old coming on campus.
Yeah.
And they have a love and a passion for Stillwater and Oklahoma State that is very hard to find, I'm sure other schools deal with this as well. But when you're seeing it in person and you're seeing, a couple like that light up about giving, touring, helping, there's thousands of stories at Oklahoma State for people like that. But I just got to see it in person and I was just like, it's that, she's lighting up about remembering this, but then also helping someone who's going through the similar thing.
It is what
regardless of the age difference.
Yeah, it's what makes Oklahoma State so different. I think it is family. It is really purposeful about saying that it's not a nation or any, we are really interconnected. And the cool thing, as you said, is these stories transcend generations. So it really is powerful that when you wear a little bit of orange, I saw your Swingin' Pete hat. When you see it, it's like, oh, we're family. We have some commonality there. It's a real kind of underdog spirit at OSU, and that when you're a part of the family, you kind of get it, and when you're here, you get it, and you understand what it feels like. But if you've not ever been here, it's really hard to explain. But so I'm glad that you have been here and that you can explain it in great detail.
Definitely. And even just kind of the staff that I've had on the podcast, or the athletes I've had on the podcast, like it's exactly what you just said. It's a common bond. And I'm just a fan. Like I part of me thinks I should probably do a master's degree here.
You should. You absolutely
figure
should.
something out. Maybe in broadcasting, I can learn more about what I do, mass communications or something. But it's a great feeling. And even when my parents have visited and we've walked around campus and gone to Eskimo Joe's and walked down the strip and, had Payne County Painkiller, Copper Penny with my dad, which was hilarious. It didn't go very well. He'd never shotgunned anything in his entire life, and it went everywhere.
Sure, but memorable.
But it was so funny.
The best memories.
But it's just and the other, and I went to a KU football game, sure.
Okay.
With a very KU fan. I was like, we have tickets, you've got to go. And so he came with me. And he's 6'5", Native American, big guy, walking around the strip, praying for someone to say, because I grew up in the UK where soccer teams, you get heckled. Like, it's part of it, right? And I'm just like waiting, because he's really funny and he's got a great quick wit, like kind of like your husband, like chirps, really good at it. I'm just waiting for someone to say something. And we're sat on the patio somewhere on the strip, and somebody said something, and the guy who said something, the people in his group started ripping him for saying
Oh, you're kidding.
And I was like, oh, that was my,
that was a chance.
Yeah, I was like, please. And they were like, don't worry about him. He's just mad. He's not even a real fan. He didn't even go there. And I was just like, what is this? Everyone was so nice to him. So we're in the line at Fuzzy's and someone said, welcome to Stillwater. I'm like, no, like I want it was such a cool moment. But also for me, I was wanting him to like just kind of have a little bit of banter. He's dressed head to toe in blue and red.
It's not often. Like I said, it is like people love it. We just are a really fun, loving, connected kind of place. So I've always heard that from opposing teams when they come here, that their experience is good and that they'll walk through the tailgates and people will offer them a beverage or stop eating. I'm like, oh, I love it. It makes me so proud.
It is.
It's
so a cool
proud.
thing.
Yeah, I love it.
It was. I was surprised because I was expecting, he's going to get heckled for 5 hours all day, and he didn't get anything. I mean, we beat them, obviously.
I was going to say that helps.
Yeah.
If we win, it definitely helps. It may have been different if the tables were turned. I don't know.
But so let's finish up. Let's talk a little bit about kind of your role, I guess, outside of this job. Let's talk a little bit about as great as this is, and as great as meeting all these people and having these connections and these accounts with 7,000 people and the connections to Oklahoma State, how does all of that help you in your home life as a mom, as a parent, as a wife, going into, just like who you are as a person? Because, the one thing I think the States does compared to other countries is they spend so much time working. It's a very working culture, and that's across the entire country. Part of that, though, you need some time away, which you guys have your farm and you have your time, and you're about to go on vacation, which sounds great. But tell me a little bit about kind of how that's transformed you, about the time you spent here, that how it's molded you into a better friend, a better wife, a better mom. You mentioned being in YPO with Shelly. That's a great, cool group of entrepreneurs to be around. Really, what has that been like? What's the other side of your life outside of Oklahoma State?
There's not a lot of opportunity outside of work, as you mentioned. Here it is a huge devotion into the job. However, I would say the relationships that you build here with the donors, with my board, with the people, they really have lived what I'm living. And so they're so willing to just offer that continued mentorship and, hey, take a breath, Blair, and, don't miss a football game this year. Try to make more of your kids' activities or games. So I spend a lot of time here. And then this year with my senior son, I've tried to spend more time making it to his sporting activities and investing in that part of my life, which has been so fulfilling and so life-giving. You don't realize what you miss until you make a few more. And then you think, oh my gosh, what a blessing this has been. And I love it so much. So I've benefited from all those general relationships who just sort of pour into you as a human and saying you need to keep some balance there and don't take that part of your life for granted. And then have the opportunity to do some really cool things because of the job here. You mentioned YPO. So you get to be around other people who are in a similar position and understand the demands on time and energy, and can also just sort of pour into you as an individual or a human, whether that's with your faith or your family or your health or your job. I heard someone say there's, I think, 4 burners to life, family and faith, and health,
family, faith,
and your career. Yeah, the 4 of them. And you could only have 2 of them on at any one time. I'm like, okay, interesting.
Which one are we?
Yeah. How do you do this?
Yeah.
So we continue to try to balance that together, but invest a lot right now in work and family. The YPO group is a really wonderful outlet for me of really good people who are trying to fight for your highest possible good, as we say. Give you the honest truth when you need to hear it, because often in these jobs, you don't get to hear the honest truth. So, good friends around you will tell you what you really need to hear, not always what you want to hear. And so I feel really grateful for that. And then, your old high school, college friends are always at the ready. Yeah, they're at the ready.
Rely on them to pull
keep
you out.
Really humble.
Yeah, they bring up some memories from high school, and you're like, great, back to humbled, real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah, no longer on the high horse.
Yeah.
The coach in you, the basketball player in you, what's it like having kids who are in athletics? Do you struggle to coach? And because when we're young, we don't listen to our parents.
Not at all.
Zero.
None.
So
Nor do they love
2 boys and a daughter?
2 boys and a girl. 2 boys and a girl.
So how's that, being a coach and a mom, having this life experience that you want to tell your kids, but sometimes not having?
It was easier for me with football because we didn't have football in my little hometown. So I don't know as much of the schemes or dynamic or what.
And put in effort.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at effort and attitude, and I've tried to stay consistent, and that's the only thing I'm going to yell at you about or lose my cool is effort and attitude. Now, every now and then, like a referee in a basketball game, of course, I'm going to make sure they're accountable. They're getting paid for this. Exactly. You got to be accountable. It's your job.
Greatest thing I ever heard at a basketball game, and this is common, but me growing up, basketball was not really a sport in the UK, was you should go back to Foot Locker. Just like you're dressed like you should be a Foot Locker. You should be coaching. You should be going back to selling shoes at Foot Locker. And I was like,
it's savage. It's savage. I try to be easier on them now. It's really hard to get referees to come and umpires and all the rest. So it has been hard. But it is fun, I would say. It is, my kids don't really love, my daughter tells me if I rebound for her, I can't say anything. I just have to rebound the basketball. So I try really hard to just be an encourager and let their coaches coach and just be the cheerleader in the side.
Who has more of your husband and who has more of you and your kids?
Thankfully, they all have a lot of my husband, which is really great. They all have some characteristic of him that's really awesome. Like different versions of him. So I think mostly they're his children. They all look like him too, which is unfortunate. They just, not unfortunate, but like, I carried them for 9 months. Come on. Can anyone look even a little bit like
So
me?
they have blue eyes like your husband?
They do have brown.
Okay.
So my daughter has kind of a hazel colored,
Okay.
but yeah, we're otherwise look just like him. And like I said, they all are a lot like him.
Okay.
So my oldest has some tendencies like me. He's pretty independent natured.
Big into math as well.
He is but my husband is way better at math than I am.
He's in the
too.
construction world,
He is.
right? So he
He
has
is
to be into math. Yeah.
very good. So he beats me by a lot in that category. So all of them are really smart, good kids, and we're very, very, very blessed.
What are you guys doing for fun? What when you do have a moment? There's a lot of books here. I'm a big reader as well.
I do love to read.
But
Yeah.
you know, what is it's fun time when you're without your family and you're just kind of enjoying your time, and then what is fun time with family?
Fun time with family, right, for the last 4 or 5 years has been completely involving athletics. They are, like I said, 3 sports. All 3 of them have played 3 sports, which means you're just consistently running through that. There's a season that they're playing 2 sports at one time, doing a little bit of 7-on-7 at the same time they're doing baseball or basketball or what have you. So for the boys, my daughter does FFA. So any of our free time is generally related somehow to being at a sports field somewhere. Individually, I would say we don't do a lot otherwise. We try to take it 1 vacation a year and otherwise are pretty plugged in to sports, work, and all their activities. So, and then, a little of the outlet, I would say, is the farming stuff that we do. It's where my kids also get to learn some great new language from my husband.
I grew up playing golf. I know every bad word in the book.
That's right.
It was a very young age that I learned that. My mom was not happy about it, but it's within the sport.
It is. Even in our downtime, we'll go to the gym together or, it's just, we enjoy competition and games. So on our vacation that we're going on, it'll be a laser tag, something, or, you've got to have some sort of sports related outlet.
Score something.
Yeah, there's somewhere that you're going to have play cards. We do a lot of cards in the evening, which is funny because it's a lot of competition in the family. So it usually didn't end well.
Reading right now?
Actually, nothing. I have not. So if you have any book recommendations, I happily would take one as I head on vacation.
It's a short one. I reckon we talk about it a lot on the show recently since I read it. It's called Die with Zero.
Okay.
It's by Bill.
Sounds interesting.
It's like 200 pages.
Okay.
It's a lot about, and it'd probably be great for my fundraising side too. It's a lot about kind of spending your money and time while you have it. And a lot of it's in, technically die with 0 money in your bank account, right? It's dangerous though, because I spent a lot of money after I read it. And so I will give you, it comes with a warning.
Okay.
But it talks
Noted.
a lot about, just kind of, and it does relate to, Bill Perkins is the author. It does relate to a little bit about kind of, like we're in your years. And if you have a lot of money, or if you're going to set, or any money, you're going to set it aside for your kids, then you're better off giving it to them now so you could see them enjoy their life versus give it to them when they're, when you're dead. But it just kind of reframed spending a little bit for me.
Yeah.
And not like, growing up and kind of always having like a nest egg and wanting to be more of a scared mentality versus out here, the abundance of, just the opportunity here and going and doing stuff. It's a really good, it's a short.
I'm downloading it then for my drive.
Oh yeah. There's a podcast. There's an audiobook.
Okay, great.
Die with 0.
Thank you for.
But yeah, it comes with a warning.
I'll have my husband read it.
Oh, he's gonna be so
he'll be
happy. I recommended that.
He's the more frugal of the two of us.
Yeah,
so, he'll
it's a good
appreciate
book.
your recommendation.
Yeah, it's short, but it's just kind of puts things into perspective, right? And I think we realize very few times do we think we only have a certain amount of time, right? We're always kind of stuck in the day to day. You don't think, oh my gosh, I might only be alive for 30 years, which 30 years today seems like a lot, but it's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good book. That's one I'm not really a big fiction reader. It's always like I'm in that kind of like business.
Yes.
But if I do, it's usually some James Bond type novel, or, Tom Clancy type Secret Service stuff.
Yeah.
Sure, I was dreaming of that as a kid one day.
I love it.
But yeah, that's really cool. So finishing up, I always ask people, I have started asking people because I asked this on Instagram and it kind of caused a bit of a stir because people are kind of territorial about this topic. What's your Brahms order?
Ooh. It is a Heath mix with chocolate ice cream. If I were going to order food, I would do just a cheeseburger and fries. And usually with the ice cream, I'm also getting fries, even if I'm not ordering food. I just like the combo.
Yeah.
Is that a wrong answer?
No,
Is
no.
there, are
Well,
there
that's the
any
thing.
wrong
I'll
answers?
I'll just send you the Instagram post because
Yeah.
there's like 200 comments of like everyone's order and everybody's different. Great.
Oh, I love it. I'm a huge
love it.
Brahms fan. We're very lucky that we have Brahms here.
It's
Yeah,
dangerous.
very
It's
proud.
yeah, one of my doctor friends responded and he's like, a side of heart attack and this. And I was like, stop being fun hater.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a
It's
cardiologist,
good.
so I get it. Okay,
It's worth it.
finishing up, being here. Obviously, we're sat here on a Friday. It's Friday of spring break while we're recording. It's kind of nice. It's quiet.
It
It's
is.
just,
It's
people are
great.
going and doing their thing. And you've been in this role now for some time, projecting into the future, reaching that $2 billion number, and being here, and then maybe seeing your kids be here, all the things that could happen in the future. What is one big, bold prediction that we can document this today and see that we can look back on in 20 years and see if it happened? What would you like to see? Yeah. 20 years, 30, doesn't matter. But what would you like to predict of, if you look back and taking the person out of you that's going to say, I just want my kids to grow up healthy and have a good life, because we all want that.
So
Selfishly, for yourself, looking back, what would you like to, I guess, have accomplished with your career?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
career,
Yeah.
that's a great question. And one I probably should give deeper thought to. I guess for me, I really believe in the power of higher education. That's why I'm here. I just think every societal challenge that you see, I think more educated society is what leads to that being solved, whether it's water or crime or food, whatever that is. So I just really fundamentally believe in higher education, and I believe in a land grant university. So I could only ever do this at a land grant university, and just think there's something really powerful in that. So we educate a lot of first generation kids here, and I really, in 20 years, hope that the number of kids that can come to Oklahoma State and that have a donor that's really connected to them, not just financially, but really connected to them, I hope we grow that tenfold. It's really small numbers now, is transformational from a career perspective. I think from family perspective, like I hope my kids and my family were all still as connected as we are today. You know, when your kids leave, you want them happy and healthy, of course, but you want them to be like with you and doing life with you. And it's so much joy is being able to do life, even with them around OSU or not. Like you just get to do life together and enjoy them doing what they love and being a part of it. So I hope that has not changed and just continues to expand, that I get to be the 90-year-old great grandma someday, enjoying every moment of my kids and grandkids.
Yeah, having having that childhood that you had around such a big family, and seeing that and realizing how special that is, and also the data that's around, being so close to the family when you're in your older years, right? Like the data around the grandparents living longer because their families around them.
That's right.
Homesteading, all the things. Fabulous. I'm excited to follow along with that. Excited to see the campaign, code calls.
Code calls, yeah.
Excited to see that grow and push that out. And yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some moments where people are going to listen to this and come up to you and like, I had no idea, which is great.
We'll see. We'll see.
But appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
appreciate you.
And
Thanks.
yeah,
It's
this
been
is
great.
great. Thanks for
It's been
Shelly
great.
for connecting us.
Another shout out to Shelly. She's good people.
Do you see she started rowing? Have you seen her?
No,
You haven't
that does
seen-
not surprise me though.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Next time you see her, ask her about her rowing.
Okay,
because
I will.
She is like
She's tough.
competitive rowing now.
Okay, it really does not surprise me.
No,
She's
it doesn't.
really
Yeah, she's in the boat. They finished, I think, second in Austin. Like she's traveling,
Wow.
like really, like not just like, oh, I row. She's like in it.
okay. she's
Anyway,
a
yeah,
competitor.
it's
I like it.
hilarious, but cool.
Good.
Well, appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the podcast. People listening, I will put a link to everything that Blair does at the foundation in the description to the podcast. You can click on that, check out what OSU Foundation does, and give some money if you're an alumni.
Yes,
It goes
please.
to a great cause.
Everyone do a little. That's
Yeah.
great.
So, people listening, catch you next episode. Cheers.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at OklahomaHOF. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my 2 pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. So if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too, but I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC, and hopefully our pups will run into each other.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.